What's up, guys? This is Matt with the Colorado Spirits Collective. I am here with Wyn Ferrell and Tyler Joyce of Mile High Spirits. So thanks, guys, for having me. Appreciate
Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Thanks for being here. Had a great day drinking whiskey.
Absolutely. Tasting some of the goods and hanging out. So
absolutely.
So we'll start with you, Wyn. Tell us about how you got into the idea and kind of like what came about for you to start.
Yeah. I mean, growing up, going through college, I always had a finance track, but loved marketing, brand creation. I got 2 degrees, one in finance and one in marketing, and I kind of knew I always wanted to apply that. And it just took a short stint in finance for me to realize that I was not in the right place. And started in sales for a distillery, and long story short, ended up starting Mile High Spirits with my business partners, Joe and Chase, back in 2011. And then we brought Tyler on in 2013, 2014 to elevate our whiskey program and to start making some whiskeys that can really compete in the world market at the highest level. And ever since then, it's just been really fun and really exciting, and every year is filled with all kinds of new grain bills and new fun things to drink and release to the public.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, definitely been fun since I've been here, because
that's what we go for.
I might slur some words here. So
that's how you know you did a tasting at Mile High.
That's how you know you're having a good time.
Nobody walks out of here talking right, I can tell you that.
And then Tyler, you're going to talk about your brewing history.
Oh, so sorry. I've been brewing my entire life, but got into whiskey while I was brewing and making whiskey at home. And then when I started hanging out with Mile High Spirits and they decided to bring me on, I was with the idea that I wanted to help them create better spirits. When our relationship started, it became apparent that there was so much more that they could do and so much more that I could do to create the best spirits around. With a brewing background, the spirits needed to have a relationship between grain, water, yeast, and chemistry, and make it better.
Yeah, Tyler brought a lot of fermentation and grain knowledge to the table that has been irreplaceable.
Cool. And then, how did you guys kind of meet? Or
Tyler was working at Great Divide, and we actually met in circumstances kind of outside of a business relationship, but always knew who each other were, and that we were both in the liquor industry, just in different focuses, different capacities. But yeah, I mean, it was a goal of mine to bring Tyler to our side for months before we were able to actually put together a package and execute a takeover.
That's cool. I like it. And then, kind of, you hinted on it. You have a finance/marketing background. What, prior to Mile High, what was kind of your?
Oh, I had done some pretty trivial things, selling Cutco door to door and stuff like that in the sales world. And then all my other jobs were finance: UBS, Merrill Lynch, FactSet Research Systems, working in New York City and in North Carolina in finance. But I moved to Colorado trying to find a better place to live, and I found that it was really my profession that was the big problem.
Yeah.
But I give Colorado a lot of credit too for why we're successful, why we're able to take our vision and have it be successful. I think people in Colorado are very state-triotic. I think they're obsessed with their state. They want to support their state. They want to support their community at large, and I think that it offers really unique opportunities for people that want to start businesses in Colorado versus other states.
Yeah, for sure. And then
It's definitely true.
you worked for Great Divide as a brewer.
I worked for Great Divide as a brewer.
Gallivanted around the world.
And then brewed beer elsewhere rather stayed in the mountains as well as down in South America.
That's cool. What part of South America?
Brazil.
So that's I think you're the first Brazilian brewer we've had on.
Yeah.
Check that on the
Whiskey
resume.
chats. Yeah, right.
For sure. That's cool. That's definitely like a unique perspective that you bring, I'm sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
to
Tyler's history in brewing has brought a whole refreshing attitude to our spirits that I think a lot of other distilleries don't have.
Right. Absolutely. And then obviously the Hawaiian shirt you bring.
Well, I mean, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of a Colorado style now, but yeah, this is always living in aloha, being happy, and your outfit making other people happy too.
Yeah, we don't know when craft distilling became so serious, but we like to think that we represent the fun side of it. We take our spirits seriously, but not ourselves, is a big slogan of ours, and I think it resonates deeply with all of us. We make liquor to have fun, and we have fun making it. Right. The last thing we're gonna do is be overly serious about it.
Yeah. No, I love you're always in it, and you're like, it's a good time. Probably one of the best tours I've been on, just because of definitely. For sure.
This helps.
Yeah, of course. And so you guys have, I kind of hinted on it before, like the big warm welcome. I got to meet the entire team, everybody from sales to who does like the process, and then obviously we got Wyn here, who's one of the founders / owners. You want to talk about a little bit of like where you guys started, how many?
Well, I mean, we started with the three of us owners doing everything. We were doing formulation to blending to distillation to bottling to shipping and receiving to marketing to contracts to compliance to everything that it took. We were actually the bartenders as well in the tasting room. That lasted probably about 3 or 4 weeks before we started to bring on bartenders because, man, we were really burning it from both ends. But yeah, I mean, a really exciting start, and we just slowly grew. I mean, we added a warehouse manager, this guy Rich, who was with us forever until he retired, and he was a great personality to have in our warehouse as well. And then it really wasn't until we moved locations to this location, much larger facility, much larger tasting room, where we said, now it's time to prepare for what's next. Let's invest heavily. Let's roll the dice for a second time, risk everything we've got, and see if we can create something that grows. And yeah, the results have been what we were looking for. Nice steady growth where, we started with the three of us doing everything. We're at about 40 to 45 employees now. And it's been really healthy, and it's been really positive, and we're able to kind of keep our culture alive through growing, which is really hard for a lot of companies.
Yeah, once you kind of get to like a certain point too, I feel like you become more of like a business, like strict business kind of thing, as opposed to like having fun and being.
Yeah, exactly, and we really try to embody the taking everything seriously. There are rules, there are things you have to do, but we're here to enjoy our jobs, to enjoy our lives, to be fulfilled by what we do.
Your want to come to work.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. Cool. And then Tyler, I got the tour of Snap, Crackle, Pop, and all the other solid.
He's talking about our fermenters.
You want to talk about like your process and?
So my process is taking grain and making it into liquor. We use our brew system as well as our distillation, our still was all made in Germany and Europe, and so we run a metric brewing system.
Which is better.
Tens are super divisible. But then I'm always trying to create new things that are based off of us, what we want to drink, and what's left over we try to sell. So.
It's very true.
Yeah.
I love it.
I was going to say because we just cracked
Batch 2.
Batch number 2.
The first bottle
Yes.
opened of batch 2, fresh
And,
off the line. It's not even in stores, not even available in our tasting room.
Literally
Batch 2
bottled.
of our bottled and bond.
Yeah,
Yes.
of the bottled and bond. It's literally like, if you can hear the clinking in the background, it's being bottled right now, like as we speak, and it's delicious. But what kind of like still do you guys use?
Arnold Holstein is the still manufacturer, as well as Arnold Holstein made
Yeah, Bavarian.
the Bavarian
Yep.
brew houses made the rest of the equipment, and it creates quite an amazing liquor.
They are still a steamy wonder, and he is definitely the workhorse of the company.
Yeah.
He and Tyler have a tight relationship that produces fantastic whiskeys.
Yeah, and when you guys come to visit the tasting room, there's a big window behind the stage, and you can see the still and was it the column right next to each other. So
Yeah, it's a pot column hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
someday you'll be seeing a show at Mile High Spirits, and behind there'll be actually liquor dripping out of a still. It'll be amazing.
And we kind of obviously, like, my page is called the Colorado Spirits Collective. We're big on Colorado all the way from grain to glass, and you guys are doing that with Whiskey Sister Supply.
Yep.
And them. So you want to talk
Yeah,
about
Rogan.
ingredients and
I'll speak to Rog, and I'll let Tyler speak to the brewing grains. We chose Roggen as our corn supplier pretty early on. They've got remarkable quality of corn, and they're an elevator association. So essentially, they're a lot of small farms get to aggregate what they grow to have more selling power. So we are supporting local farmers. And the spent stillage goes to a cattle ranch. So we've got a really good closed loop. We're doing Colorado wherever possible, but the corn, our cold nights make sweeter corn, which is awesome for making whiskey. So Roggen Farmers was an easy choice for us for corn. But the rest of the grains are much more complex and offer a lot more depth. So I'm going to let Tyler talk about the rye and barley and everything.
So the rye currently and the barley soon. We actually buy from a supply group called the Whiskey Sisters. Actually started by Stephanie and Felicia Omnop, and there are local sisters that were both from a farming family out east. More close to Lyman, and they realized there was a big lack of supply of actual grain from the local grain that was being made into whiskey, and so they started selling local grain into whiskey. And so we buy their rye, which is really delicious and high quality,
Bold, yeah, for sure.
and very bold, and that's still making our whiskey just as bold as it was when we started making it using other grain.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then our specialty releases, Tyler really digs in and gets some funky, crazy one-off brewing grains with tons of different characteristics smoked into them, baked into them, whatever it takes.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool. And too, just kind of piggybacking on what you said about Whiskey Sister, they have a really cool story about like the family farm itself, and then how they turned into supplying ingredients for distilleries. So definitely something worth checking out. So shout out to those two for killing
Whiskey
it.
Sisters.
Yeah. So you mentioned it earlier. You guys got started with the clear spirits, as most distilleries kind of do, just so you can make that initial revenue.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the
vodka?
vodka.
Yeah, so I mean, we knew that we were going to open a tasting room as a part of our concept. That was something that we knew from the beginning was going to make us different, is that our tasting room isn't an afterthought. It's not like a corner of a room meant to retail bottles. It's meant to be a cultural hub of the city of Denver and be something like really fun and unique and cool for people to do. You know, seeing the way breweries were kind of taking over the Colorado scene, it's like, come on, like, let's get some really good spirits out there. So we did start with vodka and gin. Our vodka is phenomenal. From day one, it has been remarkably smooth, easy to drink. A lot of that credit goes to Colorado water. It's superior to what a known brand in Texas is using for water. It's just cleaner and delicious. Gin is the brainchild baby of my partner Joe. He is a big gin drinker, and what I liked that he did with gin is he was adamant that we create a London dry gin. He's like, we cannot just dive into these gins that taste like a bouquet of flowers when we haven't proven to people that we understand how to strike the appropriate balance of a dry gin. So we do have a fun adventure gin out now called Summit Gin, but Denver Dry is a phenomenal gin and tonic, traditional dry gin. So these were quick out of the gate and not far behind. Probably about a month into the tasting round, we realized we need whiskey. Whiskey was on fire. It was really popular. It had eaten up a lot of the vodka market share. This was back in 2011, 2012. So we started sourcing from MGP, and we came out Fireside as a source product as we were making some of our own whiskeys and experimenting. And then, so Fireside is really meant to be a replacement of a Bullet, of a Jack. It's a phenomenal drinking whiskey. It pairs well with ice, but it doesn't quite have the gusto flavor of the brands like Elijah Craig and E.H. Taylor, a lot of the Buffalo Trace line, Weller, and all of that. So that's where we said, okay, so we've established that we can make something that competes and beats the mainstays. Now let's try to make some whiskeys that really hold their own in conversations with like the best whiskeys in the world. So that's where we came out with our bottled and bond and single barrel.
And then just to interject here, for what's the price point on
25? This retails for around $25 at most stores. Our whole strategy from the start has been fair pricing. Not sure why craft got so expensive. If people aren't paying under 10 cents a pound for corn, I'd love to give them a phone number to call. We want to be accessible. We want to be a bottle you take out when people are coming over, not a bottle you hide when people are coming over.
And I kind of talked about that with you earlier in Chase, that this is like at 80 proof, this is like just take out to like your back patio and pretty much just hang out, have a good time.
Yeah, even its namesake, Fireside, I came up with that camping. I knew very early on in my tenure in Colorado, I was like, I want to start a whiskey brand called Fireside.
Me and my neighbor could definitely easily kill this whole bottle in a couple hours sitting out on the porch having a little fire. So
thanks to Tyler's magic, Fireside grew up in a beautiful and bold way, with expressions of single barrels coming out at 2.5 years, 3 years, 3.5 years. We were waiting, counting down the minutes for everything to reach 4. I mean, that's like a big deal. So once we hit 4, we go, perfect. We released our bottled and bond. The bottled and bond is unbelievable. We've had batch 1 bottled and pretty much sold out. I think we have like 4 or 5 bottles laying around in the building here, including that one. So that's a batch 1, and now we're on to batch 2, about to be released tomorrow. And bottled and bond is smooth and it's great, and single barrel is truly a single barrel expression of what you get from bottled and bond. So in bottled and bond you get all these unique bold flavors, and single barrel is just going to be some of those amplified to another level.
Right. And one of the cool things too about like specifically you guys, and then we're starting to see like from some of the bigger, but like also some of the craft distilleries across Colorado, is bottled and bond isn't really like that. Not that many distilleries have released that yet. So like that's kind of, I feel like on the craft spirits like spectrum, if you want to call it that, that's like a big big deal.
It means no funny business. It means no sourcing. It's not like
it's the accolade you got to work for. You can't just buy into it. You need to actually do it.
Another thing that's interesting is that it's 1 season of grain. So you can't play games where you're like, oh man, our 3-year is really not that great. Let's mix some 5-year into it.
Right.
You can't do any of that.
No.
You have to make enough of the product in that season that's going to stand up for the name Bottle of Bond.
Right. And that's like one of the reasons I'm glad like you guys reached out to me, and I'm like happy to be here. Is like I said, you guys are one of the few Colorado distilleries that have released, and one of those, and you're obviously on batch number 2, which is delicious. So
yeah, I think batch 2 is going to go quickly,
Yeah.
and then onward and upward we go.
oh yeah. And then the last one you have here is
It's a single barrel. I mean, that's just a bottle that if you see on the shelf, you got to snag.
Yeah.
They're flying. They're going really fast. We got a lot of stores coming in for store picks, and a lot of people have been watching us grow up. A lot of the accounts, a lot of stores all over the state have been watching us grow up, waiting for this moment, because we're not in the conversation of good whiskeys. We're in the conversation of like some of the best whiskeys that they sell.
Definitely.
So that's something really unique that stores can't wait. They can't wait to say that a local product, like, I know you're right. I know you want to get an E.H. Taylor, and we're out of that, but you should really, really try this.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna satisfy you.
I would definitely put this up against
Yep.
some of the like top Kentucky bourbons that.
Absolutely, and I think it's important for Colorado, for all of us, to be producing good spirits. Really put this state on the map.
Yeah.
Work together. I'm not trying to take down Buffalo Trace.
Oh,
We're just
no.
trying to snag a little bit of their action, and they have plenty of love to spread around. And I think putting Colorado on the map is important, and I think we're all doing it.
For sure. And then that kind of brings us into our next topic that we talk about. You guys are obviously coming up with batch 2 is being bottled currently. You got batch 2 to tease, other than your Hawaiian shirts.
A tease, eh?
What else?
I mean, we have a lot of really fun teases, actually. We released a rye during the pandemic last
What was that? That would have been last probably May or June.
May, June. With that rye, we have a rye coming out next year. We've also been working on some.
Let them have it.
We've been working on some single malts, and they are amazing. And they're 3 now, and they'll be 4 next year, and they're gonna change your world. Truly, they're gonna make you think of us not as a bourbon distillery.
Love it. So, other than like some Hawaiian shirt with a little bit of hair, you heard it first. We got some single malts coming out from Mile
We
High.
do.
So it's a big.
There's a
big
little
deal.
still in secret, as well.
Oh, yeah.
A few
We
things
still
we're
have
not
more
gonna
stuff,
talk
but-
about.
We're not going to talk about that though.
Yeah, that's fair.
we can.
That'll be part 2. That comes out in a little bit. So for sure. And then obviously you guys have an amazing lineup, a badass tour distillery, probably one of the most impressive barrel houses, warehouses that is in Colorado for sure. So what's your location, and where can we come and taste some of the special releases?
Absolutely, yeah. You can always find them down here in our tasting room. We're right in downtown Denver. We're 3 blocks from Coors Field. If you ever find yourself downtown, check us out, 22nd and Lawrence. Our tasting room is open daytime and nighttime. We do DJs on the weekend nights. We do Bloodies and Bluegrass on Saturdays. We're always doing fun things. All of it's on our website, on our calendar. But we really wanted to open a distillery not just to make spirits, but to make a really fun cultural place for people to go in Denver.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then you kind of mentioned it, like you were saying, you're a nightclub kind of vibe sometimes.
A lounge
A lounge
sometimes.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
wear many hats
Yeah.
when it comes to hospitality, and we're ready to entertain however it is you want to be entertained.
Yeah.
So.
And you guys can book tours on their website. You guys have private events. And then one thing that I think is pretty unique for some of the distilleries is you guys offer cocktail classes
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, so launching in January, we're going to have a more comprehensive online booking platform to book cocktail classes, tours. As a bachelor party idea, you can mill, match, and pitch a batch of whiskey with our head distiller.
Or bachelorette.
Or bachelorette, fair enough. But we're doing all kinds of fun things, corporate events, team building events, things like that. You can come in and experience the day in a life of a distiller. You can actually make a product and end up bottling and take a bottle home. We're doing very unique things, and we'll be launching a whole program in January surrounding that.
Oh, yeah. It'll be cool to
Yeah.
look out for. So all you whiskey women, don't be
Come on down.
Don't be worried about they won't discriminate here for sure. And then distribution wise, you guys are on Drizzly.
Yeah, we're on Drizzly, 2-hour delivery, most anywhere in Colorado, and we're in a lot of the liquor stores statewide, bars, restaurants. If you don't see us, ask for us. It's the most helpful thing you can do for these local brands. If you find local brands you like, please always ask for them. It does nothing but help all of us as a whole.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then we kind of touched on it a little bit. What like markets are you guys trying to get out into?
I mean, the Springs is big. They're saying the Springs is going to outgrow Denver in the near future. It's one of the hottest growing cities in the country. Colorado Springs is a big focus of ours. We want to really get into that community. We like to get into communities through music and events and things like that. And we really want to see if we can, become more involved in Colorado Springs, the mountains, the western slope. They're just amazing communities of people that are growing really fast.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then so that people can stay updated on that kind of thing. Social media.
Yeah, check us out on socials. We have a page for the distillery that'll tell you all about our spirits, where to get them, events that we're at, things that we're doing spirits related, and then we have tasting room pages as well if you're curious about our concerts, events, things going on in these four walls. We have lots of fun things, almost every week here. So
cool. And then what's your handle or whatever there?
Mile High Spirits. Yep. So you see Mile High Spirits and at Mile High Spirits Distillery.
And then your milehighspirits.com or
Yep. Drinkmhs.com.
Drinkmhs. So make sure you go check that out. And that's where you can find out tour information, cocktail classes, and all that. So yeah. Once again, thanks for having us.
Hey,
Thanks for coming. It's been a great day.
I keep saying us. My wife will kill me because it's me, but whatever. It's all good.
I love it.
So make sure you follow Mile High. Make sure you follow Colorado Spirits Collective. We're big on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube channel, and then stay tuned for more information about SoCo Stillfest, which will be June 25th, 2022, and that'll be in Colorado Springs. And we have a separate Facebook page, separate Facebook and Instagram page for that.
You'll see us there.
You'll see me there.
You'll see these Hawaiian shirts there.
You'll see them.
Most importantly. So, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, guys.